This video is for men over 60 and for the partners who love them, because what I am about to talk about is something that happens to a significant number of men after 60. Something that is almost never discussed openly, and something that, when it happens, is almost always misunderstood by the man it is happening to, and by the partner who notices the change without knowing what it means. If you have noticed that physical intimacy feels different than it used to, that something has changed in the way your body responds, I want you to hear this before anything else. What you are experiencing is not a failure. It is not a sign that something is permanently broken. And it is not something you should carry alone in silence. It is a biological change. It has clear causes, and in most cases it has real solutions. In this video, I am going to explain exactly what is happening in your body, why it happens, what causes it, and most importantly, what the couples who handle this well actually do differently. Because the way a couple responds to this change determines whether it brings them closer or quietly pushes them apart. Stay with me, because the third point, the one about what partners need to hear, is the one that matters most. Here is what this experience often looks like from the inside. A man notices something has changed. He does not fully understand what has happened or why. And because he does not understand it, and because our culture gives men almost no language for this kind of vulnerability, he does the only thing that feels safe. He goes quiet. He starts to avoid intimacy. Not because he does not want it, but because the fear of something feeling different is more painful than the absence of intimacy itself. And from the other side of that silence, the partner feels something too. They feel the withdrawal. They feel the distance. And without knowing the reason, they often reach the most painful conclusion available to them: that the withdrawal is about them, that they are no longer wanted, that something in the relationship has irreversibly changed. Two people who love each other, both suffering in silence, both misunderstanding what is happening, and a distance growing between them that neither knows how to close. This video is for both of them. One, what is actually happening, the biology explained clearly. When physical intimacy changes for men after 60, there are three main things that may be happening. And understanding which one, or which combination, applies to you is the first step toward addressing it. The first is called retrograde ejaculation. This is the most common cause, and it sounds more alarming than it actually is. Under normal circumstances, a small valve at the base of the bladder closes during climax to ensure fluid moves outward rather than backward. After 60, and particularly after prostate surgery or with certain medications, that valve can relax, and instead of moving outward, fluid moves back into the bladder. The sensation of climax remains completely intact. Only the outward expression of it changes. This is not dangerous. It is not a sign of serious illness, and it is treatable in many cases. The second cause is hormonal. Testosterone governs the production of fluid in the prostate and seminal vesicles. As testosterone declines after 60, and it declines in every man, the volume of fluid produced naturally decreases. This is a gradual change, not a sudden one. And it is part of the broader hormonal shift that affects energy, desire, and physical response across the board after 60. The third cause is medication-related. Several common medications, including some prescribed for blood pressure, prostate enlargement, and depression, directly affect the mechanics of ejaculation. This is documented, it is common, and it is something almost no prescribing doctor mentions. None of these three causes are permanent sentences. All three have paths forward, whether through medical consultation, medication review, hormonal assessment, or simply understanding that what is happening is biological and not a reflection of desire or attraction. But here is what the biology alone cannot explain. Why the physical change so reliably leads to emotional withdrawal, and what that withdrawal does to the relationship over time. That is point 2. 2. The emotional and relationship impact nobody talks about. The physical change itself is rarely what damages the relationship. What damages the relationship is the silence that follows it. Research on men's health and intimacy consistently shows the same pattern. When men experience unexpected changes in sexual function, regardless of the specific nature of the change, the majority do not discuss it with their partner. They withdraw, they avoid, they find reasons not to initiate, and they carry the experience alone, often for months or years. For the man, that silence comes at an enormous cost. It means carrying confusion and shame without support. It means avoiding the intimacy that would actually help. The closeness, the touch, the emotional connection, out of fear that physical intimacy will expose the change. For the partner, that silence is equally costly. In the absence of information, the human mind fills the gap with the most available explanation. And for most partners, the most available explanation for withdrawal is rejection. Loss of attraction, loss of interest, loss of love. None of which is true, but all of which feel real in the silence. This is how two people who are deeply connected can find themselves living with a growing distance that neither of them created and neither of them wants. Here is what the research on couples who navigate this well shows. The physical change is not what determines the outcome for the relationship. The conversation is. The couples who talk about it, even imperfectly, even awkwardly, consistently report higher intimacy, higher relationship satisfaction, and a deeper sense of closeness than before the change occurred. Because the conversation itself becomes an act of trust. And trust is the foundation that desire is built on. Which brings us to the most important point of this entire video. What couples actually do and how partners can respond in a way that brings them closer rather than further apart. 3. What couples who navigate this well actually do. The first thing couples who navigate this well do is name it. Not perfectly, not with clinical language. Just a simple acknowledgement between two people who trust each other. Something has changed. I want to understand it together. That sentence, or anything like it, changes everything. Because the moment a man knows his partner is not alarmed, not repulsed, not retreating, the shame that has been driving the withdrawal begins to dissolve, and the intimacy that was being avoided becomes available again. If you are the partner watching this, and I want to speak to you directly for a moment, here is the most important thing you can offer. Not solutions, not reassurance that it does not matter. Just presence. The simple, clear signal that you are not going anywhere. That the physical change does not change how you see him. That what you want is closeness, not a particular physical outcome. That signal, delivered once clearly without pressure, does more for a man's willingness to re-engage with intimacy than any medical intervention available. On the medical side, here is when a conversation with a doctor becomes important. If the change was sudden rather than gradual, if it is accompanied by pain, discomfort, or changes in urination, if it followed the start of a new medication, or if it is causing significant distress for either partner, a urologist can assess whether retrograde ejaculation, hormonal imbalance, or medication effects are involved and recommend appropriate steps. This is not a conversation to be embarrassed about. It is a routine part of men's health after 60. And the doctors who specialize in this hear it every single day. When you see your doctor, ask 3 specific questions. First, could any of my current medications be affecting ejaculatory function? Second, would a testosterone level check be appropriate given my age and symptoms? Third, is a referral to a urologist something you would recommend in my situation? Those 3 questions in that order will give you a clear picture of what is happening and what your options are. You do not need to know the medical terminology. You just need to ask. I want to acknowledge something. If you watched this video all the way to this point, whether you are the man this is happening to, or the partner trying to understand what is going on, that took something. Our culture does not make it easy to sit with this topic. It does not give men language for physical vulnerability. And it does not give partners a roadmap for how to respond. The fact that you are here, informed, engaged, willing to understand, already puts you ahead of the vast majority of couples who are carrying this in silence right now. Physical changes after 60 have a way of forcing conversations that couples should have been having for years. Conversations about what intimacy actually means, about what closeness looks like when it is not defined by a single physical outcome, about what it means to choose each other fully, honestly at this stage of life. Those conversations do not happen because of the change. They happen because 2 people decided to face it together. And that decision, that facing together, is the most intimate thing a couple can do. If you are a man watching this, I want you to hear something clearly. Your value as a partner has nothing to do with this physical change. Nothing. What makes you the person your partner chose is not a physical function. It is everything else. Your presence, your warmth, your willingness to show up, your capacity to be close, even when closeness feels complicated. And if you are the partner, your role right now is simpler than you might think. You do not need to fix anything. You do not need to have the perfect words. You just need to stay, to reach out, to make it clear that what you want is him, not a particular version of him. Just him. That is enough. That has always been enough. If today gave you something, clarity, relief, language for a conversation you have been avoiding, then this channel exists for exactly that reason. At Connected After 60, we believe that the conversations most couples are having privately and painfully deserve to be had openly and with good information. Subscribe if this is the kind of conversation you want more of. And if this video helped you or someone you love, share it quietly, without explanation if that is easier. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do for someone is simply put the right information in their hands. Take care of yourself and of each other.